My name is Joseph Waldmeir, and the Waldmeir is spelled Waldmeir.
Okay. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
89.
89 years old, so you're a youngster. My sources tell me you quit school when you were young and joined the military.
Holy mackerel.
If you
We're
want
going back a long way.
there you go. Tell me about that.
Well, I left high school in the 10th grade and worked for a while, and then the war started. You know, I'm old enough to have. Second World War, I wound up in. When I got out of it, I worked a little bit, then I got married, and I decided I better do something with my life. So I went to the Veterans Administration to find out if I get on-job training. And they gave me some tests, and then they told me the only thing you can do is go to college and learn to be a lawyer. So I said I can't, because I only had 2 years of high school. He says, if I can get you in, will you stay for at least 2 years? I said, yeah, and he sent me down to the Archdiocese office to take some tests. I didn't have a GED in those days. So I passed the test, apparently. I'll never know how. And they got me into college. And then I never left. I kept on, and I got an undergraduate degree. Then I went to Michigan and got a graduate degree. Then I went to Michigan State and got a doctor's degree and stayed at Michigan State and taught there for 33 years.
Wow.
There's the story.
Wow, that's interesting. Tell me about, I heard you had an interesting run in World War II. Tell me about what you did there and how you started and stuff like that.
Well,
Well, maybe not started, but can you tell me, did you go to Normandy?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So start from there.
I was in on the not on the invasion, thank God, or I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But I was over there after that. I went over with the First Army first. I was a truck driver, among other things, and an ordnance outfit needed a tractor, and I was a tractor driver. So they sent me on detached service to the First Army. So I went over to Normandy, and it was about 2 weeks after the invasion. And then the commanding officer came and told me, okay, go back to England. I says, how the hell do I get back to England? He says, I don't know. He says, go down to the beach and find a way. So I did. I went down to the beach and I talked to an MP and told him my troubles, showed him my papers, And he says, see those three guys down there? They're ship captains, LST. He said, and that's what I needed because I had this big tractor to get on. And I said, what will I do? He says, just to ask him which one will take you over. So I went down, and on the way down I passed a fence yard full of German prisoners of war. All waiting there. I go and talk to these three guys, and I told them my story, and they flipped a coin, and the winner got me. And I said, how come? And he said, because the other guys had to take those pre-Ws in the hold, and there are no heads in the hold. You know what head is? Yeah, well, there you are. No heads in the hold with all those guys down there, So anyway, I went back to England and hung around there for another few weeks with my outfit. And then we went over to the Third Army with Patton.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you served in Third Army Patton?
Yeah.
What, were you involved in any?
No. Well, I was there. I got 5 battle stars, but I wasn't involved. Not really. I just happened to be within 10 miles of the fighting.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And then tell me, you I understand you hit it off with some folks here at Stonehill, and you guys started reading.
Yeah. Well, I was eating with some fellas and with some people, and I started bragging about teaching at Michigan State, and they said, who do you like? And I said Hemingway, and they said they'd like to read Hemingway, and I said okay. So I told them to read The Old Man and the Sea, and then we got together and talked about it. Then we were going to watch the movie, by the way. And then I sent them short stories too, 5 of them. And we talked about those last night. And now I'm going to take them to one more Hemingway book, The Sun Also Rises, and then we're going to Scott Fitzgerald and The Great Gatsby.
Do you think you'll keep going on after you get out of here?
Out of here? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. it's hard to come back all the time. And there's a guy getting out of here tomorrow, but he swears he's going to come back.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
How is Hemingway kind of a metaphor for life and some of the struggles of old age and the kinds of things that you know your friends and acquaintances in this book organization?
Yeah.
Is that I'm assuming this is the most appropriate material for these folks.
Well, I think he's appropriate just because he's so American, you know, and we have been reading. I kind of avoid his old age because he had such a miserable time. You know, I committed suicide because of old age as much as anything else. He finished The Old Man and the Sea and then decided he couldn't write anymore, and that's what did it. He blew his head off. But I just think it, you know, he appeals to me. He speaks to me as an American male.
Yeah, I was talking to one of your partners in the club, and he was talking about how you guys talked about, you know, some of the things the Old Man and the Sea went through, and some of, you know, comparing it to life here with the rehab and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, it's just that the Old Man and the Sea, you know, had to fight a battle all by himself, and the biggest battle he ever had, you know. And it compares to us because we don't have a battle like that. We're not alone. And we're lucky we're not alone. You don't feel sorry for the Old Man of the Sea. You respect and admire him, just the same as you respect and admire the great fish that he caught and loses to the sharks, you know. But it's at the same time, you feel this great respect for the guy, and it helps you.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of an example like that helps you.
What about, somebody told me that you've made a connection between Hemingway and Catholicism.
Oh yeah, well, what fools everybody about the Old Man and the Sea is that it's built upon the Passion. The Old Man is out there with his great fish, and all of the metaphors there are connected to Christ and the Passion. For instance, there's one line in the book where the Old Man says "I-E," A-Y, you know, and pronounces that way. And Hemingway says, "And it was just such a sound as a man might make, feeling the nail go through his hand and into the cross." And boy, if that doesn't take you toward an interpretation, you know. And the Old Man is out there for 3 days, hanging on the cross for 3 days, and so forth. And of course he loses, but wins at the same time because he fights the good fight. The same as the fish fought the good fight, and they win. But he loses because the sharks take it away from him. You know, by the way, there was some suspicion when the book came out. One reviewer wrote that he thought that the sharks were the critics, and Hemingway was getting even by killing them off one at a time.
The last question I have, because I know you got to get to therapy, is talk about your experience here. I mean, is it Hemingway-like? I mean, are you getting back? Are you getting back at it? Or are you doing it?
Yeah, yes, I think so. I think it's I'm coming along, you know, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people. They're great, including the help. I don't mean that, but the staff, you know, and the PT people and the whole works. It's good. And it's good for me, not only physically but mentally. Yeah. Yeah, you get to be 89 and you're like Hemingway, you know, you can't do much anymore.
Good deal. Yeah.
Can I get some, he's going to PT? I'd love to be able to photograph him while he's getting some.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you very much, sir.
That was really good.
Gotta show him, Joe, some of your notes.
Well,
Back for therapy.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still gonna try to make it to if we meet again.
I see.
Very good.
And you had company last night?
Yeah, and Sister Dorothy's running.
There's stuff over here.
Her brother?
Yes.
Well, that was her brother.
Thank you.
He was in El Salvador with,
Yeah.
You want to take this out of the...
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
first publication of it, 1952.
Well, I just fell down and picked myself.
Not fun.
No.
Just to give you a few little additional trivia, one of the short stories we read was The Big Two-Hearted River. And Joe has gone up and fished in the Big Two-Hearted. And Joe, you tell the story. It's
What river is it?
The Big Two-Hearted.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yes.
I did not know that.
And that's Hemingway's title for it. But that's not the Big Two-Hearted River. The Big Two-Hearted River is 250 miles away from there. The Big Two-Hearted River, the story is about the Fox River, actually. And that's the river he can see when he goes down there in the town. The scenery is all burned over, and he crosses a bridge and looks down. He's looking into the Fox River. But he wanted the title to be the Big Two-Hearted River.
and tell Gary the story about where Hemingway wrote the story.
The Big Two-Hearted River story?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Paris, at a bistro. I went in there. They showed me the table that he wrote at. You know, they make money off stuff like this. They're not gonna. Yeah.
That's
I
great.
convinced the people in Petoskey to support the Hemingway Society because Hemingway is the most valuable product they have in Petoskey.
And they weren't doing anything?
They didn't want to do it, but I talked them into it quite easily just by pointing out that they could make a living at it.
What are some of the things that they do now?
Well, I have this meeting every year, and the people are cooperative. You know, they really help. Then when the crowd is there, they go to those cafes where Hemingway was and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah.
That's cool.
And you can go out to the cottage. His cottage is still there, and his nephew owns it.
Joe, you should explain, because Joe, in the very beginning, we were just learning that Joe has this expertise on Hemingway. And Joe picked for us to read The Old Man and the Sea. And Joe, many years ago, while he was a professor at Michigan State, had written a critical essay on Hemingway's Religion of Man. And Joe, why don't you explain? This appeared first in the Michigan Academy of
Science, Arts, and Letters.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the article was published by the Michigan Academy. First of all, it was immediately picked up by one book, and it's been picked up by 3 more books since then, and published. I never asked for money except from one book from a very rich professor I knew. I asked for $35, and he sent it to me. I don't know what I wanted to say.
Well, so we started off with The Old Man and the Sea.
Yeah.
And then Joe, after kind of all of us discussing our own take, Joe went through the book and brought out all of the nuances and
Symbolism.
the symbolism.
Yeah, well, he's read the book.
I've read the book.
And
It's my favorite.
the religious symbolism in it is pretty clear. And you know, what he does is compare the passion of Jesus Christ to the sort of passion, in quotes, of the old man who's suffering to bring in his fish. You know, and the fish and the man get combined too, which is absolutely accurate. You know, the whole dish. The whole idea of Hemingway being a fish being a Hemingway symbol. Well, you still see it on old crosses. The fish is on there, you know.
Wow, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
What was, for me, so wonderful about it was that it was so appropriate because here we are, all old and battling
Yes.
the elements and hanging on and enduring the pain. It really had a special significance for us
Yeah.
at this moment in our lives.
And the pain the old man feels is the same pain that Jesus felt. In his hands, in his head. There's a pain in his side and he spits blood. You know, this whole thing is his back, his shoulders where he's been scourged, you know.
Yeah.
The old man has the line across there, and that will give him the same scourge marks and so forth. And then the old man, and I love this line because it tips everybody off that that's what this is about. The old man says, "I," A-Y, I, and Hemingway says, that's just such a word as a man may, as a noise man might make, feeling the nail go through his hand and into the cross. Boy, you gotta interpret the story.
Very good.
Yeah, so
Very good. Very good. And shooting silhouette shots. As weird as that
Yeah.
may be.
So Joe has really made it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so then we went from there, Gary,
Uh-huh.
to 5 short stories that depict the 20s, scenes in the 20s in this country. And from there, we're going to The Sun Also Rises. Joe, you explain.
Well, The Sun Also Rises is about the expatriates. The people in The Sun Also Rises are all expatriates from either this country or England. And they're in Paris to begin with, and then they head to Spain to go to Pamplona for the bullfights. And that's where the story goes, right up to Pamplona for the bullfights, you know? And then Hemingway explains the bullfights, and he explains about bulls and everything else in this novel. I went to the bullfight. I was there. We went to the bullfights, and we went to the Pamplona, to the running of the bulls and the whole works, you know. And I was in the sun, so I bought a kind of a straw cowboy hat from a vendor in the street, you know, to put it on for to keep the sun off me. And I'm walking back to the hotel, and there's kids playing in a little park, and they all see me and they all start shouting, "Hey, John Wayne! Hey, John Wayne!" Yeah, yeah, because of the hat, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, John Wayne. So I turned around and waved, but left. You know, I didn't want to get caught up in that.
So Joe has really brought out the richness of Hemingway's novels and
Yeah.
fiction. And
You are so privileged and so fortunate to have this man here, I tell you.
we are.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so
Well-
privileged to have him here.
Well,
He explains me so well.
Somebody listens to you. Somebody.
To be very honest with you, I didn't think I'd be alive at this age. So I've lost 84 pounds between then and now. Still have a few to go. I've lost 18 inches off my measurements so far, so I'm pretty happy.
Her abilities are declining, and they will. It's the nature of the disease. But all that can be done is to mitigate that and to do it in a fashion that gives comfort to her and, quite frankly, comfort to her family. And that is what we have found here.
So I think I'm coming along, you know, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people. They're great, including the staff, you know, and the PT people and the whole works. It's good. And it's good for me, not only physically but mentally.
He has always been a great advocate of the spirituality of letting go, of how hard that is as we go through life to have to let go of certain responsibilities, certain independence. And I have seen him here, it's my impression, a bit subjective maybe, that he's done that exceptionally well. He made the decision himself with the help of his doctor that this was a place that would give him the best quality of life, given what was happening in his own life at this point. I would say, given all of those factors, he's just done exceptionally well. That's my subjective opinion. If you want to contradict that, Father Tom, don't do it now.
Okay.
So we did the number approach, so we're gonna go in.
Gotcha.
We're gonna declare it done. Because it didn't have a check mark. So something ever comes up with.
You know, I think she's become a little bit more independent. She never was a very independent person. You know, she never worked, she never drove a car. She stayed home and raised 7 kids, and Dad was her life. So it was a big change being alone for her to have to make decisions. And then when she came here first, they were made for her in such a structured routine. And now where she's at, it's not so structured. Still very careful in her care, but she gets to make some decisions.
Did you make your kids lunch when they were growing up? When they went to school? Put in a garden? No, you weren't a gardener. No.
I never thought I'd reach the age of 90, but it's good going now and I live alone. I wasn't able to do anything, walk or anything, and they got me on my feet. And it feels so good. And it has helped me a lot.
I got some glue. We'll figure it out.
This is a shame.
No more. No more. How you doing, sir? Hi, Dave. Great. I've never been around the East Coast, so
Just moved into Dubuque.
This place.
That's all?
This is the way to retire. With the help of these people, I'll live to be 100.